Buenos dias to this lazy Sunday episode. Cosmos is dead, is what they're saying. Cosmos is cooked, we're done, this is it. And if you look at the price action and look at the sentiment also on social media, on Twitter, you feel like, yeah, maybe this is it, we're all wrong, it's all over, we gotta pack up, and that's it. But if you listen to the next 20-25 minutes, if you listen to this video and watch this video closely and concentrated, then you'll understand Cosmos is far from dead. And yes, the price action right now is frustrating. We've been going down only. We went through a lot in the Cosmos ecosystem pretty much ever since Terra collapsed. That was the first major step that we had to survive. And we went through a lot. We went through a lot of adversity. We had a lot of things, mad things going on over the past 2 years. But I feel like right now we're at a very, very important point for the Cosmos ecosystem to show strength. And this is a time when the weak hands are being washed out, the final wave of the shakeout before breakout, and also the time when money is going from the impatient to the patient. Anyways, we have a big month coming up, not just for Cosmos, but also in terms of macro developments, some numbers. We will have probably the first rate cuts in years come September. I think September 18 is when the meeting is. And then also we have the employment numbers or the payroll numbers coming up next month as well. And Alex Ruiz is saying, if we get strong payrolls and a 50 basis point cut, then we'll go to the moon. On the flip side, if we get weak numbers, weak payrolls, we're going to see a collapse, not only of crypto, but also TradFi. And considering that crypto is a risk on asset class, that means we'll probably bleed further. But at the same time, we have a lot of positive developments. Dubai, the place where I'm also residing in, now approves officially Bitcoin and crypto for salary payment, further boosting adoption and the kind of regulation around crypto. Here in Dubai, they are super progressive on that. It's still not 100% figured out on all ends, but I think the UAE and Dubai, they understand that the global dynamic is shifting, and they want to become a crypto hub, a Web3 hub. They kind of already are, but they want to really double down on that, and they understand that this is the future. At the same time, I also think the UAE is currently working on a digital dirham, a CBDC, which would obviously not be great, and kind of against this thesis of sovereignty, empowerment of the people, separating money from state, and so on and so forth. But we'll see how things evolve, how things develop. But this at least is good news for crypto. Then we also have South Korea's pension fund buying $34 million in MicroStrategy, aka Bitcoin. And MicroStrategy is the third largest holder of Bitcoin BTC with 226,500 BTC worth over $13 billion. I think second is BlackRock, and then first is obviously Satoshi Nakamoto with over 1 million BTC that have never moved the wallet. Then we also have news, MetaMask. MetaMask wants to launch a debit card in partnership with MasterCard. And the interesting thing about this is that this would be the first debit card where you can spend directly from your non-custodial wallet, which would be a big, big win and drive adoption of cryptocurrencies. So this is good to see. And then also we have more news. Usually those type of news are top signals, but I think Crypto.com has done a good job over the years to rather conservatively, but at the same time still aggressively. I think they have found a good sweet spot here to partner with these large sports events, also with the UFC, with a lot of football and soccer events. But now they landed the UEFA Champions League and signed a multi-year partnership with them. I think numbers are around that are not yet public or disclosed. But Crypto.com is obviously one of the largest organizations in crypto, and also the core team or organization that's behind Kronos. And Kronos is a full-on Cosmos SDK blockchain as well. So kind of Crypto.com is also part of the Cosmos ecosystem in that sense. Then we also have this interesting chart, which basically compares the global liquidity and the Bitcoin price. And we can see global liquidity currently is at an all-time high, even though we are in max fear, panic, geopolitical tensions, insecurities, all these kind of things. Global liquidity is very, very high. And this might indicate that we're about to see a huge explosion in crypto and in the Bitcoin price. I think we're already at relatively decent levels for the BTC price. It's all about altcoins kind of catching up, closing the gap, and making back some ground, because altcoins are really bleeding and have not really seen a big relief rally yet this cycle. Looking at the BTC flows, we see 15 million in outflows on the Ethereum spot ETF on Friday. Total 420 million cumulative outflows since the ETF launched, with Grayscale already absorbing or selling off over a third, I would say, of their fund, which means yeah, slowly they're running out of powder. I think it's only a matter of days or weeks until this is turning around, and then we'll probably see more green days, because so far we haven't really seen a lot of green days when it comes to the Ethereum spot flows, spot ETF flows. On Bitcoin, it looks a little bit better, but also volumes are a little bit down. We also see in the last 4 weeks, we have seen more red days and more outflows than inflows, but yeah, eventually this will also change. And remember, like, the political race is intact, right? Election is coming up in November, so we're getting closer to a very hot phase. Pair this with good employment rates, pair this with the first rate cuts, and pair this with just kind of the new wave of crypto products that actually will have users. We now have so many contenders, and we're going to talk about this today as well, and big projects lined up, especially in the Cosmos ecosystem. Speaking of which, looking at the prices, it looks really, really ugly in the Cosmos ecosystem right now. Super low prices left and right, huge discounts left and right. Atom, $4.58, and we're going to talk about it in a second. There's also a huge undelegation ongoing, 12.5 million Atom being undelegated. We're also going to look on-chain where this might be going. Akash, $2.50, Axelar, 53 cents, TIA, $5.10, DYDX just above $1, Dymension, $1.36. Overall, nothing much happened here. Finchia, Passage, super low valuation, $8 million. And I think this is a steal right now. No financial advice, obviously, but there are some decent discounts now. So if you still believe in those narratives and projects and their products that they're disrupting, their niches, then yeah, I think now is a good time to kind of stack up on that. Passage in the metaverse, Quasar in the DeFi space, Mars lending, right? They're also fully migrating now to their Neutron chain, Stargaze NFTs, secret privacy, right? Also talked about this integration with Say Network recently. So there's a lot cooking, a lot going on. Also, Osmosis, 36 cents. We're going to talk about this in a second. I think there's a lot of interesting updates and developments on Osmosis, and I'm very, very bullish on that. But the spotlight news for next week is going to be the Babylon mainnet launch. At least phase 1 is going to be launched next week on Babylon, one of the most highly anticipated launches of the year. This has been in development for a long time, led by David Se, who is also a professor at Stanford and also was one of the kind of mentors for Sriram, who is the founder of Eigenlayer. So there's also some interesting ties there. I've been in touch with David for well over 2 years now. Babylon also had their kind of coming out of stealth at Cosmos 2022 in Medellin. Imagine, back then, this was a totally different era. And I also did an interview, by the way, with David and with Zaki back then. So this is from September 13, long time, 2022, long time ago. And it's great to see how far they came over the years. Now, they will launch in basically 3 phases. Phase 1 is going to be Bitcoin locking, which will be capped at 1,000 BTC to ensure smooth and secure rollout. Phase 2 is going to be the Bitcoin staking activation. And phase 3 is going to be multi-staking that is coming. So this is going to be a phased rollout. There will not be, in my understanding at least, the token launch on Monday or next week of the BBN token. I don't think we're going to see that yet. So this is going to come later. But you will be able to kind of lock up your BTC. And this is capped at 1,000 BTC in the first round. And your minimum stake is 0.005 BTC, maximum 0.05. We, with Cryptocito, are going to be one of the finality providers. And if you're wondering where and how you can stake, there's multiple front ends. We actually built in the Babylon front end on the stakecito.com website. So if you go on stakecito.com/staking/Babylon, you can connect to your BTC Signet wallet and you'll be able to stake here with Stakecito. Much appreciated. And honestly, we need you guys because I think Babylon is going to be super competitive. A lot of big institutions or organizations are also running infrastructure, a lot of Bitcoin whales, I guess, as well. Because eventually what might end up happening is like a lot of these big Bitcoin whales, they'll just run their own finality provider and just basically self-stake, self-delegate. But yeah, with Stakecito, we're running this as a service for the Babylon chain, and you'll be able to lock up your BTC with us next week. Much appreciated, and let's see how big we can get there. Like I said, I think it's going to be super competitive, but so far we have around 500 stakers already and over 741 delegations. So much appreciated so far the support on testnet, and now let's do this on mainnet. Like I said, I've been in touch with them for a long time. I've also placed a private investment into Babylon around that time. And it's been a wild journey to see how far they came. We talked a lot about this 2 years ago in a different context, before this term restaking was big, before this whole, era about Bitcoin staking even became a thing. So we talked a lot about timestamping, leveraging Bitcoin security for Cosmos. Babylon itself is going to be a full-on Cosmos SDK blockchain. So it is Cosmos as much as Atom is, right? As much as every other Cosmos chain is. It's all another sovereign Cosmos layer 1 blockchain using the Interchain stack. And I also did another interview with David and also Mikhail from Persistence here in person back in February when the Babylon team also came through. They also hosted a brunch kind of event. And we did a great interview here about also kind of the synergies between Cosmos and DeFi and Bitcoin. Why Bitcoin people would even use Babylon, right? Do they like it? Do they not like it? Because usually Bitcoin people are more kind of tribal about their BTC. They don't want to get involved. They don't want to take other risk, unnecessary risk in their opinion. So we talked about this a lot also with David, who's also explaining the kind of trust assumptions and the underlying architecture of Babylon. And then pSTAKE, on the other hand, is going to also go heavy onto the Bitcoin narrative, launching Bitcoin liquid staking as one of the first protocols there is. And pSTAKE is one of the most experienced teams when it comes to liquid staking in general, right? They've been one of the earliest teams to build on that. And they also now announced the launch of Babylon Rush, which is basically an aggressive incentive program so that existing users as well as new users will earn a share of up to 100,000 pSTAKE tokens, and you have to stake Bitcoin before August 24. So be quick if you want to participate there and if you want to earn some pSTAKE tokens. If you prefer reading than listening or watching, then go and check out the Cito Zone thread that we did, a recap of the Bitcoin Renaissance podcast that just launched, where Fisher and Eric are talking in depth about what is Bitcoin staking, how does Babylon work, what's the ecosystem like, how does it all kind of collaborate and coexist and plug in. So this is a good read here. It's a very kind of in-depth thread and research report basically from that podcast. Next up, we have Initia initializing Mainnet, 41% up. This was from yesterday or the day before. So we're almost there. We had this 3-week testnet, incentivized testnet where you had to level up your journey. So I hope you did that because you might be getting an airdrop for that. And Initia is also one of the most highly anticipated launches in Cosmos. Interwoven rollups is what they're going to be providing. There is some competition, obviously, with kind of Dymension and also Saga probably. So I think we have this new era of Cosmos chains with Babylon, Initia, Dymension, Saga. Barra chain is also going to be one that's going to be really big, as well as Union, which is also one that just pushed a big update, which is basically that they are now fully open source. And Union is also close to launching Mainnet, alongside also Namada, by the way. They're also very close to launching Mainnet. And Union is focused on interoperability and ZK. They also have a lot of integrations and partnerships with Barachain and Celestia. So Union also definitely one that you want to put on your watch list. And then, like I said, we have some big news from Osmosis. We talked a lot about the improvements on the UX UI side of things and analytics page, the whole kind of user flow and user experience on the Osmosis DEX itself. Now we have some more integrations. Number one, Osmosis is now integrated on DEX Screener, which is the best and most active, most widely adopted place for kind of retail people to track coins, right? It's the number one analytics page, and you can now come here. You can search for Osmo, for example, and you'll see this basically indicates that kind of Osmosis pairs and the Osmosis DEX is natively integrated here on the DEX Screener analytics page. And I think that's a big win and enhances visibility of Osmosis. Then we also have this tagline here from Meow, who is the founder of Jupiter on Solana, saying everything is an experiment. And then our Osmosis flask or Mad Scientist flask, I mean, this was originally kind of the logo from Osmosis. And Sunny quote tweeting or tweeting about it, everything is an experiment, basically repeating that. So I know Sunny has also made a tweet where he said, he applied to speak at Solana Breakpoint next month, which is happening in mid-September in Singapore. So he's going to be there. He's going to speak there. And also that there will be more integrations with Solana. So we'll see what is cooking there on that side of things. But Solana definitely has a lot more liquidity, users, activity, volumes, and all the kind of things that Osmosis would love to have, right? So we'll see what's brewing there. And yeah, that's all about that. Then we also have some interesting teasers here. Nick White, Defund is doing 100 millisecond blocks on Rollkit dev with Celestia underneath, which is actually 3 times faster than Solana in terms of finality. Solana has 300 millisecond block times, and Rollkit could achieve 3x the performance here. So that's very interesting. I think Celestia also has a lot cooking. Also now with Eclipse that just went live, the Solana virtual machine, SVM on Ethereum, the fastest L2, yeah, format chain as well. There's so many more things that are lined up on the Celestia ecosystem. And I think this is also one that you should definitely look more into it. Now we have some updates on the Cosmos Hub in terms of the Hydro proposal. Informal Inc. Has now taken the feedback from the community on the forum post, making 3 changes. Number 1, instead of requesting new Atom from the community treasury, they are going to reroute the existing protocol on liquidity and export that first, which basically means the liquidity from, I guess, Agoric and Persistence that was granted directly from the community treasury with an on-chain proposal, that will be clawed back or basically redirected directly to the Hydro committee, and then they would basically start the first batch of bids there. Also, dynamic LST buckets, instead of immediately giving 50% to Stride, that was also a big concern. Now it's going to be kind of with the open market, and there will be a bidding process for that too. And also integrating the liquid staking module from day 1. So those are the changes. Now we also have some major milestone achievements from Drop.money, which basically is Lido on Cosmos, a liquid staking provider that just launched. And within, I think, a day and a half after launch, they hit 100,000 Atom to be liquid staked. 20 hours after that, they 10x that. So they have now over 1 million Atom liquid staked, which is a big milestone achievement. So congrats on that. Drop is one of those teams that could single-handedly turn this around and single-handedly have a big impact on Atom's relative strength by just being a strong liquid staking provider that also captures a lot of the market shares, is a serious competition to Stride in terms of kind of adoption and numbers, and yeah, integrated also more and more DeFi applications, right, where people can actually also put that to work and do all these kind of things. So Drop definitely one you want to put on your watch list as well. And they have this ongoing referral campaign and ongoing droplets campaign where you can also earn points, and you can use code Dropcito. You can use code Dropcito if you come here on app.drop.money/stake, and then you will be getting access to that droplet airdrop campaign. Now that said, the Atom price has been suffering and showed relative weakness to the market, and the bonded ratio has also dropped below 60% for the first time in a long time, and that is due to a massive whale unbonding. And there are multiple theories of who that is and what they're planning to do. One of which, but I think that's the least likely one, is that they're unbonding this to liquid state with Drop, because right now Drop is not compatible with the liquid staking module, which means you can't liquefy your already staked Atom. You have to bring fresh liquid Atom, and then you can stake and earn these points. But I think they also mentioned that they will be adding that support in a couple of weeks. So I don't think it makes sense to miss out on staking rewards if that was the goal, to maximize that just because of a couple of weeks, unless they know more. But you can also do some on-chain analysis here. I just briefly did it very quickly, but I noticed 2 big undelegations, one from SG1 and another one from ZKW, Zero Knowledge Validator, which basically saw a massive undelegation a couple of days ago. So if you go here on power events, you can see August 15, 3 days ago, 6 million Atom here undelegated, and another 1.5 here as well. And if you get into these wallets and see how much what they're doing it with it, where they're sending it, how much they have. This wallet has $30 million worth of Atom here, and sent them to another address here, which was then rerouted and sent to another address, which appears to be a centralized exchange address that might actually belong to Bitfinex. So this might indicate that those will be sold, but we'll have to wait and see what is going to end up happening with that, because if they wanted to sell, they could have also just liquefied it with another liquid staking provider like pSTAKE or Stride, and then sold it off immediately, or converting it back to Atom and then sold it off. But obviously there's also kind of a spread, so maybe they did the math and saw that it's probably smarter to kind of unbond. We don't know In 2.5 weeks, we'll know, and then we'll see. At the same time, Token Terminal, hated coin thesis. The monthly active users on the Cosmos Hub are on the rise, actually, surprisingly. And yeah, Wikix also saying, I can feel Atom haters getting a bit nervous at Hub getting a new chain upgrade every week. There are a lot of chain upgrades happening left and right. DAO is now on the Hub. Permission Cosmwasm, the launch of ICS v2. Now I think we need to see permissionless deployment of consumer chains, Atom secure chains left and right. We need to accelerate this a lot faster for the Cosmos Hub to regain momentum, because now momentum is super low, but the technical developments on the other side and the roadmap, we talked about it, Hydro, Forge coming up as well. I think all the consumer chains are lined up. I think there is a path for Atom to get out of this, but we'll have to wait and see how things evolve. At the same time, we also saw Coinbase adding support for Atom, DYDX, and Mantra Chain OM perpetual future listings on Coinbase Advanced. Surprisingly, this was just coming out of nowhere the other day. I think Thursday is when it came out. So yeah, there is still hope. I mean, I think for Atom, the thing is that it's probably too decentralized to just go to zero. Like, it's not going to go to zero. It's too liquid and too decentralized and too big to fail in that sense. And that might also be the core strength, right? Is that it has the most liquidity. It is the most widely listed and accessible token in the Cosmos. Obviously, there are new coins like Celestia and Saga and also Barachain coming up and Babylon coming up. But I think especially the new ones, like I would first want them to see a full redistribution, a full cycle redistribution of their own token, right? All unlocks happening, undergoing from bull to bear, surviving the bear, and then coming out of that bear. I want to see, especially the new projects, doing this first, and Atom has done it twice now, before I think we can judge that Atom is going to die. But yeah, this is still showing kind of, Atom's strength in terms of being a liquid asset that's, listed on all these major exchanges. Then we also have some big updates from Dymension. They're going to deploy a massive upgrade, the 3D upgrade, which is also going to bring permissionless deployment of rollups. Right now, if you want to launch a roll app basically, a roll app on Dymension, which is a rollup provider, then you would have to go through on-chain governance. It's a technical process and all these kind of things. But in the future, you will just have 3 steps. Register your rollup, set up your tokenomics, and whitelist your sequencer or allow anyone to run it. So they're basically also building this front end where in a few clicks you can have your own roll app, and it would massively scale and also unlock the power of Dymension. So Dymension also definitely want to keep an eye on. Then we also have some news from Stride. They are now connected to Symbiotic. Symbiotic is a new restaking provider. I'm not sure if it was built on a fork of EigenLayer, but they're mostly focused on restaked ETH, restaked Ethereum. But now they're also connected to STTia and offered support here as well, so that you can basically lock up your STTia on Symbiotic, and then you would secure those AVSs in the Symbiotic ecosystem and earn a revenue on that, while also holding a LST that already accrues staking rewards, right? And potentially it's also still eligible for airdrops, right? So this is maximum capital efficiency here. Hyperlane will apparently be the first app secured by STTia. I think Eclipse is also one of them that might be considered here. But interesting to see. I think Symbiotic already has over $1.7 billion in TVL last time I checked, yesterday or the day before. So very interesting development here. Stride also going more into kind of partnering with restaking platforms. We also know Milky Way is coming. Milky Way is also actually building their own restaking platform. So I think there's going to be an evolution for LSTs to also turn into LRTs, right? Liquid restaking tokens. And yeah, at the same time, we also have this Stride airdrop ongoing. Actually, the Stride release for the STT airdrop, those are actually finished, but there's another airdrop that is constantly happening, and you always have to connect your wallet and check and see if you're eligible to claim some tokens. But for the STT and STDAM airdrop, we are in the release phase, 20 days out of 150 for STT. This was 5% of the Stride supply, so massive sell pressure for STRD tokens for the next 130 days, 4 months. But we talked about it a lot also, how there's also this option that you can get all your STRD tokens, I think at a 15 or 20% slashing basically, but then you would have all of them immediately liquid if you wanted to sell. But yeah, we'll have to see how that evolves. Talking about airdrops and claiming and all those kind of things, we have a teaser here from Penumbra. Points What are points? Points have no point and no value. Points do not, have not, and will never exist. Points are information about Penumbra. Using Penumbra can get you points, and they're a map of your impact that only you can see. Points are building a future from Penumbra. So might indicate that there's another airdrop around the corner. If you deposit your assets on Penumbra, if you shield your assets, Penumbra is all about privacy. And you can also now use SkipGo to deposit your assets on Penumbra. So it makes it very easy. Lastly, brief update about NFTs. Sepmas from my team, researcher at Cryptocito, he's shared a teaser here about rumors of end of month for after the filter edition 4 might be dropping, and also a lot of updates in our weekly NFT recap. We already have done week 16 for the NFT recap, which covers Unicorn, the Airdrop clawback, which is live, Bad Kids, Sloth, and also just Stargaze's burn mechanism, and also try out Stargaze now with your email. And this is basically providing you a web tool-like experience on the premier NFT platform in the cosmos. Lastly, we also have a report now from the Interchain Foundation, which was published 2 days ago, the annual 2023 report. And this is a very in-depth report. You can download it and read through it. This is just a brief blog post that goes with it. Some big changes happened. Josh Cincinnati is now the new president, and Maxime Monod joined in December of 2023. I also talked about how there's a new CMO with Nico and a new DevRel as well with Ollie. I've been talking a lot with them also with regards to kind of developer onboarding initiatives all over the world and Cosmoverse. And they will also be there, all of them. So yeah, if you want to meet them, have questions or whatever, want to talk with them, be at Cosmoverse. So there's a link here where you can download the report, and then you'll get also a full breakdown of which teams got funding, for what they got funding, and so on and so forth. Anyways, that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed this episode, this lazy Sunday. You're not surrendering, you're not giving up. Crypto is going to do fine. We have a big week coming up, big launch with Babylon on Monday. And don't forget to also stake with Stakecito your BTC. Much appreciated. It's going to be highly competitive, but we're ready for it. Anyways, that's it for today. I'll see you guys very soon. Until then, stay safe and be good.